Hey guys, you're welcome to Founders Connect, a new series I started recently on my YouTube channel where I interview your favorite African tech entrepreneurs. Now for today's episode, I'm going to be having a conversation with Ezra, the co-founder CTO of Paystack. Hi Ezra.
Hi.
It's so good to have you here.
Yes.
Alright guys, let's get into the video. Okay, so first thing first, right? If you had to describe Ezra with 5 words or 5 phrases, which phrases or words would you use?
Kind.
Kind?
I guess. Oh no, I should have thought of this.
Okay, let me see if I can re-ask the question. How would you describe Ezra to somebody who's just meeting you for the first time?
Okay, I would say number one, I think I like to be an open book. So basically, you can like ask me anything, and you can be sure I'll give you like the honest.
Straight answer.
Yeah, the honest straight answer. Yeah, by default. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, just an open book.
Yeah.
Nice. So how was like growing up for you? Where did you grow up? How many siblings? Which family?
Growing up was actually. I grew up in Ibadan.
Oh, nice. So your youngest is like 6 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So are you guys close?
Yeah, I guess to the extent to which I know siblings can be close.
Interesting. How did growing up shape who you are right now? Like any key experiences, any key people that you met or any defining moments all through your life that you say, okay, these are the key things that have really shaped who I am, maybe 1 or 2.
Okay, so I would say maybe 2 things come to mind. Like as we are talking about it, I realized, so 2 things come to mind. Well, the first one was a family friend moved into our house so that it could be closer to school, like a child, and then he came in with his computer. And that was like my first introduction to computers. And then that was how I got into programming in secondary school.
In secondary school?
Yes.
Damn, so you've been programming for how many
years? And then we had dial-up internet access at the time, and I guess that also like just appreciating how interesting computers, like compared to like every other electronics, I had access to at the time, and just the power of computers, being able to like tell them what to do, other than just being limited to what they can do out of the box. Yeah, I think that was exciting for me. The next thing was so my parents were pastors, and I think there was a time random my dad were coming back from church, and then he made a statement that I thought was derogatory to Muslims, and that made me start questioning, what if I was like born, like I think I believe everything I believe today because I was born into a Christian home,
Right.
and if I was born into a Muslim home, I'll probably feel the opposite way. So there's probably something to like unpack here, and then that's because prior to that it was just all about reading the Bible, praying, like just doing default Christian things, and that was when I started questioning Christianity and religion and the context of my upbringing. So I guess those are like the 2 things that have, I guess, defined who I am.
One was
today.
computers and the other one was religion and spirituality.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coming to the computers. Let's just unpack the religion part first. So from that moment up to now, what has changed in how you view a relationship with God or Christianity?
Well, I think it's fine. Like people are allowed to like find solace in whatever they want to find solace in, and I think that's fine as long as they are not harming other people in the process. I think that's it.
That's it. Makes sense. Okay, so back to the computer stuff, because that's what I'm interested in. I had a question to ask, which is, why did you study computer science? But now I think the answer is, after you go into computers, you just wanted to like just go all the way, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Makes sense.
I wanted to be a pilot actually.
Oh, okay. So how did computer science?
Because computers were more interesting.
Right. So you wanted to be a pilot before.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you think you ever want to still like learn how to ride a plane?
I still want to fly a plane. Yeah.
Me too.
Oh.
In case you know where to learn and you can pay for me, just like. Okay, so I was looking through your LinkedIn and I realized that you started working like way back in like 10 years ago or something, right? over 10 years ago.
2006.
So you've done softcom,
Yeah.
then Jobberman, then delivery science before co-founding Paystack.
Yeah.
So what was it about the Paystack idea that made you say, you know what, I'm going to like build this? And then second question is, what was it about Shola that gave you the confidence that I want to build with him?
Okay. I think I can answer both of them together actually. So Shola and I were classmates in university. And that we met because of our shared love for programming, or our shared interest in programming at the time. I'm not sure if I should call it love, but anyways, yeah. So I think we actually worked together on a couple of projects back in school. So we met because there was like this software exhibition thing that usually happens second semester of every year. I exhibited, he exhibited, then we became friends. Okay. And then in our final year, we actually collaborated on the projects we exhibited. Okay. Leaving school. And leaving school, I think we worked together as freelancers on different projects. And that was actually how we met the co-founders of Softcom, because we were freelancing for them before they set up the company. Yeah. Now, while at Softcom, Shola went on to do his own thing and then I joined Softcom as an employee. While at Softcom, we built a product at the time, this was 2007, that allowed people buy recharge cards online. And I think at the time as well, internet access wasn't exactly as ubiquitous as it is today in Nigeria. So for the most part, people only had internet access at work. Right. And not when they're at home. But they probably need to get airtime when they're at home. So we made it possible for them to fund a wallet and then be able to buy airtime by SMS or by calling a number. When they call the number, we know that it's them, we drop the call, and then we check their profile, what have they asked us to send them, debit their wallet and send them the airtime. Now, a lot of people started making use of this wallet to as a store of value, and that made us realize that we could open this up and let them spend their money elsewhere on the internet. So that was literally how my journey into online payments began, because put a set of APIs on top of the wallet, and then any other developer could integrate it into their website. We went on from that. This required people to be registered users of the wallet, right? So we went on from that to rebuilt the product, named it AOO this time. Okay. So that was actually the very first iteration of the product currently called AOO. And then at the time it was easy way of integrating and accepting payments on your website without going to meet InterSwitch or Unified Payments directly, but we give you their interfaces and all of that. Now the next iteration of that, and this was even something we were discussing at Softcom at the time, was for it to become something like a Stripe, right? Where instead of you landing on AO and selecting that you want InterSwitch, you should just be able to enter your card details and we'll figure it out in the back end. But anyways, that wasn't possible because Softcom was a company that was doing a lot more things than just that product. And I guess it was difficult to commit resources, the necessary resources to it and all of that. So I guess in a fit of dissatisfaction with the work myself, I left. Then a couple of months later I joined Jobberman and delivery science. And then Shola came to me. I was like, oh wow, this is something I'm working on. And he came to me because he also knew I was very interested in that. I'd actually even shared, shortly after I left Softcom, actually shared a business plan I had for an online payment, whatever, with him. I think this was in 2013. So he already knew that, Ezra actually likes
payments.
Yeah, this is what gives him joy. So yeah, so it was a no-brainer for him to reach out to me. and it was a no-brainer for
For
me
you
to
to-
also like say, you know what, drop what I'm doing and join
Interesting.
this. Yeah,
So you just felt like that thing that you wanted to do at AO that you could not do it, then this would
Exactly.
actually give you the
Exactly.
opportunity to do it.
Exactly, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So aside the obvious thing where now you're doing like the tech part and shall I see you, what other ways do you guys complement each other? I'm just really curious.
I think really that's how we complement each other. So he's more of like a people person, relationships, financial partnerships, and whatnot, like external
Yeah.
facing person. And then in lots of ways as well when it comes to like just like holding up the culture at Paystack in terms of like work and just a lot of things, right? Like he handles that. I focus on like the tech, and at the same time, I think trying to understand people and behaviors and all of that has also like been some of the skill sets I've been picking up lately. So in some ways we also like help each other on like just upholding the culture of the company, where there are things he sees and shares with me, there are like things that he might be blindsided by and I see and then I bring up with him as well. So yeah, so we actually make quite a good team.
Apparently, really nice. Even externally, you can see that there's definitely like a very huge balance,
Yeah.
and it's very admirable. So I guess that, or I assume that tech is one of the biggest thing in Paystack, right?
How do you mean?
I mean, in terms of like people.
Okay, well, yes. So it's first and foremost, we like to think of ourselves as a technology company, but at the same time, I think the quest to like be very customer oriented and all of that has also made us invest a lot in like our user operations and all of that. So yes, it's easy to like think Paystack is made up of a lot of engineers, but it's actually made up of a lot of key account managers.
Right, because you guys are
and
very
ops people.
people-centric.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. What was it like? How do you like run your team? All the, you know, the developers, the front end guys. How do you like manage all that people?
Well, yeah. So I think like 2 years ago, we actually got more serious about like engineering management. I mean, the company was growing. We had to, how will I put it? Try out different structures for the engineering organization, and I think we eventually settled on one. We got our first VP of engineering earlier this year. So when it comes to like managing people, it's more of like an engineering management conversation. So we have the VP of engineering, we have engineering managers who sits on different product delivery teams. We have a couple of, when it comes to like front end, back end, and all of that, we have principal engineers who like coordinate the work across multiple teams, but like for their own specific domains. So like mobile engineering, front end, data, and all of that, back end and everything. And then when it comes to like the principal engineers, I like coordinate their own initiatives.
Right. So you just put key people that help you do the work. Interesting. What has been your biggest lesson and favorite failure as a CTO?
So I think, okay, so we started out Paystack in 2015 when I was like setting up like the infrastructure, because I feel like a lot of the early decisions we made while starting out are still like, how will I put it? Sort of like dictate how we work today. Because like, yes, while we've like evolved over time, but we've not like made any like roundabout turn. Everything has been gradual and all of that. And I think we've been able to do all of this so far by leveraging, number one, the cloud service provider we used, which is AWS, Amazon Web Services. Number two, managed services as well. So like use Beanstalk, didn't really like try to like be setting up servers ourselves and like be figuring a lot of things out. We also acknowledge the fact that we didn't have the necessary, how will I put it, advanced skill sets in-house to be able to like do things like database administration and all of that, and logs and stuff. So we leverage as much services as we could in the early days, and that helped us so that when there were like it helped us with scaling, and it also helped like when there were problems, like there were easy ways of like fixing it rather than trying to like rack your head from scratch to and all of that. So I think those are like basically if I'm going to like do this again whatsoever in any capacity, then yes, these are like the things I'm going to take with me because it worked with Paystack, and yeah.
Interesting. You don't sound very confident about doing this again. It's like you're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just saying like if there's any reason why I should be starting a company again from scratch, then yes, those are lessons I'll definitely have in my pocket. But I think this is important for other people who are like
definitely.
they're trying to get started today. Yeah.
Okay, so what's that one experience of, oh, I failed at this, or I didn't do this well, but then you took out like a lesson that has then guided to more other things that you've been doing?
While we're in the midst of trying to like take engineering management seriously, one of the mistakes we made, but it didn't seem like a mistake at the time, was the top engineers that we could pick out in each team, we made them engineering managers. Fast forward like 3 quarters later, everyone was like upset with their new responsibilities. They were tired. They wanted to go back to coding, which was what they knew to do. And also, when it also comes to like the reports, the people they were managing as well. I mean, they weren't necessarily doing a very good job at it. So there were always like problems, people problems every now and then that kept coming up. And I think one thing we realized, we actually wasted, like I said, 3 quarters. We actually ended up spending like an entire year without being able to like point to anything that we've achieved, that we've accomplished as a company compared to like previous years or compared to like this year, for instance. So I think the best way to like put it is we took our best engineers and turned them into our worst managers. So we had to like take a step back, just understand that no, this is not how to like approach people management. Yeah, like basically just because you're a stellar engineer doesn't mean you can understand people and actually like attend to like their needs, their aspirations and whatnot. Yeah, so we dialed back on that. Actually, I had to like take on engineering management earlier this year, and for at least a quarter, I had like 16 people reporting to me. That was very frustrating and annoying. But yeah, I think it's much better now. So yeah, I think that's like a failure because it lasted. We were very stubborn. We were trying to make it work, but we realized like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we needed to like.
It's very, very interesting. What I pick from that is, if you're working in a team, it's very important to know the strengths of everybody and don't try to put somebody in another place just because you feel like they're good at something else. Yeah. It's a very good one. That's a very good one. Okay, so let's talk a bit about fundraising. I mean, how hard was it raising money in 2015 versus now? And like, especially Paystack in 2015 and then companies now who are raising money.
Okay. So I think myself and my co-founder will probably have like two very different perspectives to like how hard it was raising money at the beginning. I think the reason is because I was like just largely optimistic about like the entire process. I thought like coming out of, and this is me talking, coming out of Nigeria, first company in YC, I mean, that was already like amazing. After demo day, got a couple of calls, got a lot of interest in Paystack and got a couple of calls, and I mean, we got, I think Comcast gave us 50K, and our first angel investor like just dropped 100K after like a 7-minute call or something, and that was like, oh wow, like, okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know I didn't know we're like this interesting and all of that, right? But like, because my co-founder was like more in the weeds of like having all the investor conversations and all of that, that's why I said we might have two different perspectives on it, like where he had to like do a lot of the legwork. And all. So I would say it was fairly easy. Because we had like a target of raising $1 million. We ended up raising 1.3 as at the time when we announced. And
was that pre-seed or seed?
That was seed. And we actually raised like a little bit more before our Series A. So I guess, yeah. So that was great. By the time when it was time for Series A, I think everyone, Shola already like shared like the screenshot of his chats with Patrick. At the time, right? But yeah, what happened was a couple of people were already reaching out to us, and then we also reaching out to us to like inquire about our fundraising interest, or connect us with other VCs and all of that. So I know we actually met a couple of like VCs at the time, but for the most part, we as a company weren't ready to fundraise. So we're like just keeping this on the back burner for like, oh, okay, now we know this, now we know this person, now we know this person, now we'll reach out to you guys when we are ready. And then a meeting happened with Patrick of Stripe. It was actually like arranged by, I think he reached out to Michael of Y Combinator. Michael reached out to Shola, said, okay, fine. They met in SF, had a short conversation, and then Patrick just sent a message and said, oh, like, would you mind if we invest in you and all of that? And then I think that was how our Series A like came together. So two other companies, Visa actually, because we had talked with Visa prior to that.
Yeah.
Visa joined the round, and then one of our early investors, which was Tencent, also like just joined as well. So that was how we raised our Series A. And I guess I won't know what fundraising would look like in the future anymore because that's not going to be happening. So,
goes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Interesting. So you say you guys were not ready to raise. Why between your seed and Series A before the whole Stripe and Visa thing virtual happened?
I guess we pride ourselves in being as nimble as possible, not necessarily chasing the big ticket numbers for the sake of it. There was also like some joy we derived from like being autonomous. So like literally till acquisition, we actually had no board member of Paystack Inc. That was different from Ezra and Shola.
Oh wow.
Yeah, exactly. So like the votes still stayed between us. Every other person was like, we're like board observers, and we appreciated that a lot. If we were going to raise a Series B, we would have definitely ended up getting, we will have lost our autonomy one way or the other. So yeah, I think we took pride in that. And it was also interesting when Stripe reached out because it made the investment more strategic than for the investors and also for us than money for the sake of money, right? And having people come in to like try and dictate how you should run your business. Yeah, so.
That's very interesting. If you're going to do it all over again, what is one thing that you would do differently?
I don't know. Not turn engineers into engineering
managers. That's a very, 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 very good answer. That's a very good one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What will I do differently? I'm not sure. But I know some things I would definitely do. I think I would, in terms of like our culture, company culture, because I think that has also like gotten us very far right now. Just even in terms of like how people approach their work, and how committed they are like to the vision. To the mission of the company and all of that, right? So I think there's a lot to like say about how deliberate we were about like the kind of people we had and the kind of environment we created for the people we had as well. So yeah, I think.
So there are many things you do exactly the same way, or you repeat.
Exactly.
Nice. Means you guys got a lot of things.
And probably
right?
like even do it earlier. So it's more. Yeah.
Really nice. Okay, so let's go back to you. Enough about the company for a bit. What friendships has had the most impact on you? It's pointing to Tolu right there. How or in what way?
How? I think she has. I mean, like there was like this article that came out the other day where I tried to describe this. But I think just in. How do I start from? Tolu, do you want to come and speak for yourself? Yeah. So Tolu has been my friend since 2010.
It's 10 years.
Yeah, exactly, 10 years. It was actually around this time, 2010, that we met. And I think she has just been that person that I can converse with, and that person I can rely on for pretty much anything, really. Like, name it, anything. Yeah, so, yeah, I guess. So it's been, like, if I want to think of a friendship that has been impactful in my life, I think she'll always just be the person.
First that comes to your
Yeah.
mind. That's so sweet.
Clouded. Yeah.
Okay, so how would you describe your style?
My style. Like, describe my style. I think it's like just free myself. I don't know what's the word.
I'm not sure. So there are many words. There's eccentric, there's androgynous, there's even effeminate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have used any of these labels for yourself before, or you're just like, see, I'm just Ezra.
So I probably used eccentric when I was in university, but then I questioned why I was calling myself eccentric. Like, yeah, so I think I dropped that label over time. Like, no, that doesn't work. That kind of like speaks to like what I'm doing isn't supposed to be normal. Yeah, exactly. So I would say androgynous instead, because that has been more of a recurring thing in my head with regards to like how I just like to carry myself and blur the lines, the gender boundaries. It's like, yeah.
And how's that been? I mean, how do I ask the question? It's like experiences with people, right? How people approach you, how they perceive you, how they talk to you, even like at work, just generally. Have you had any struggles, or has it just been like a free ride, just being yourself?
I guess for the most part, I've largely ignored it. Also, I'm very much sheltered from like external whatever on me because I am, what's it called? I'm mostly at home. I'm actually not an outgoing person. So the few times when I go out or when I'm out and I'm in a position to like have people like ask me questions and all of that, I don't know, I guess the way I carry myself and all of that, like just when they ask questions, it's very easy for me to like answer or ignore if I don't want to engage the person and all of that. But when it comes to work, I guess in the beginning, a couple of my colleagues clearly were wondering what the hell. But over time, that like reduced and turned into some sort of acceptance. I know I still have a couple of like male colleagues who thought like, yeah, I don't know, like especially like painting lips and my wearing lipstick or polish and all of that, where I would notice certain reactions when like they normally like just stay clear and not comment. Or like maybe, oh, help me hold my lipstick, I want to like do something, and you like see that, oh, what? Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, like, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I've noticed bits and pieces of that, but generally, I guess people are like just okay, fine, like it's Ezra, I'm not surprised. Yeah, so I mean, especially when you like see this over time.
Yeah,
multiple years counting. You just
especially when you pay their salary too.
Well, I like to believe that is not the case, but that's probably also me being naive. But yeah.
Interesting. Do you have a lot of male friends though?
No, I think if I'm going to count my male friends, apart from colleagues, only 2 people come to mind. Yeah.
Interesting.
So my male friends are always my colleagues at any point, and these people are actually people I worked with at some point as well.
Oh, okay. So you're just
yeah.
So were you always androgynous?
Yeah. So if I think back to like my secondary school, I know there was a time like my dad actually made a comment. My dad was actually the person that made me know the word effeminate. Yeah, because he referred to me as that. And it seemed condescending. Like, if I think back at how he said it, it actually seemed derogatory. Yeah, but I just embraced it anyways. Like, oh, okay, that's it. I checked the dictionary. I was like, oh, okay. Like, so there's a word for this thing I like doing. Yeah, so, yeah, that was it. Yeah, so I guess I've always been like this. Yeah.
And do you think your style would evolve?
I guess, yeah, it should, I mean.
Right. I'm very curious about this because I mean I'm androgynous, right? Yeah. And I've always dressed like that, and so I'm like, oh, it's interesting to see. I mean, it's more common to see women who are androgynous than men who are androgynous, and so I've always been super curious about Ezra. Like, oh, okay, this is like.
Yes, thank you for saying that, because actually one of the struggles that I've had is when I actively started looking into like fashion choices, dressing, and all of that, I saw more women. Yeah. Men. But it was fine. It was fine because meant I didn't have a lot of guys I could draw inspiration from, but the women were there anyway, so why not? And usually when I walk into like a store to get clothes and all of that, usually find myself in like the women's section for like things like jackets or sweaters, because like those,
So I think that you like. Interesting. So the last set of questions I'm going to ask are like lightning rounds. So I'm just going to give 2 options and just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Very easy questions. Right. Okay, first of all, what's your wildest dream right now?
I thought you said.
Actually, that's.
I was ready to pick from options.
Wildest dream.
Sorry, what kind of dream? Remember I said when you're asking open-ended questions.
Okay, like what's one thing that you want to do that you haven't done yet, but you're like, at some point in my life, I'm going to do this.
I swear to God, I don't know.
Don't do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fly plane. Nice. Okay, texting or calling?
Texting.
Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
Cereal before milk or milk after cereal?
Cereal before milk.
Yes! You see, I have a way of finding people who are like me, because I believe that people who put milk first are serial killers. And I'll say this on air every single time I do one of these videos. Okay, also, what's your favorite city?
Oh, San Francisco.
Why?
At the moment. Because it feels like home to me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like everything around you when you're there, just like, I don't know, and this might be me just owning into like the tech side of myself, but everything just feels approachable and relatable, including, and even mundane things like you go to bars and you see programming jokes, or you can like just, I don't know, exactly, so yeah.
So it's a very nerdy city, is it?
I wouldn't necessarily say nerdy. I don't know how to put it, but yeah, like it just feels it just feels very like exactly like this is where
I connect to it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess all those random little moments where you're on a train and the person in front of you is on Slack or writing on VS Code, and you're like, my people around me. You don't compared to
cool.
Nigeria where you're like in the minority. So.
That's very interesting. Cool. So my final question is, I want to start a company now, and I'm looking for a technical co-founder, right, or to hire my first engineer. What should I look for in a really good developer?
Okay. So I think this is actually a question I like answering, and it's more of like, I'm just looking at myself, looking at other examples of co-founder relationships that have worked really well. I think when it comes to like looking for a technical co-founder, like look for someone who actually buys into your mission with you. And I see it as like a marriage of sorts where you become friends, you get to know each other, you know whether you guys can actually survive the ups and downs, because there will be ups and downs. Like myself and my co-founder, we've had fights, we've had all sorts. But like what keeps us going is just that shared agreement we have, and our connection to like our goals, our mission, what we set out to do. And so we like know that all of these things are like distractions. These are things that are meant to happen, but we'll just end up making the relationship stronger because we've gone through this. And it's very easy to like, if you don't have that kind of foundation from the early days, or even before you guys officially say, oh, now we are co-founders or something, I fear that, that's how fallouts happen ultimately.
Right, so it's much better to find someone that at least you've known for a bit than just...
Maybe not necessarily know them for a bit, but like get to know them.
Get to know them first.
Actually get to know them before jumping in. And that's way, the relationship is no longer like financial, or like, oh, I'm in this because of my stake or because of my salary. You are actually in it because both of you connect and you... So,
Nice. I needed that too.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much, Ezra. That was a very interesting conversation. I didn't even look at the camera all through, if you guys noticed, because he was just like, I really enjoyed just listening to you talk, and I think I'll probably invite you for another one again, just to listen to you talk, just like a different one. And I hope you guys had as much fun, right? Or got as much insight as I did from just listening to Ezra talk about his experience, about starting Paystack, and about just him being himself and his style. Let me know what you think about the comments in the comment section below. If you have any questions, put it there, and just maybe he'll be here to answer the question. Maybe. But hey guys, thank you so much for staying to watch this video to the end. Any last words for the audience? Alright guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also the bell notification button so you always know when I release a new video. Thank you.